Good morning, YouTube and the world and whatever. It is Saturday morning here in Connecticut. And my paper towel stuck to the bottom of my coffee. I have a nice fresh cup of coffee. And we have a Hodge Podge printer and some parts I've printed for the Hodge Podge printer. All around here, still scattered. Probably should have been a little more organized, but what's the fun in that? And I'm going to use these things, and this is going to be the bizarroest bed build you've ever seen, unless of course you've seen me do it before. They actually use this bed method a lot, even though it goes against a lot of common sense. It's a different kind of bed motion system. I mean, it really isn't. It's just I don't use eccentric nuts because then you got to buy stuff, and it's just a pain in the butt. I basically mount the wheels on these little trucks that I've designed, and go from there. And it allows a very low profile bed to the extrusion, and it works. It works pretty well. It's not the easiest thing in the world to set up or install. It's not difficult once you get the concept. You do have to use turnbuckles and tension and play, and the eccentric nut is definitely easier. What's up, Victor? Glad you could jump in. Again, this isn't, this is a Hodge Podge printer, so I'm building it out of Hodge Podge parts, out of stuff I just have left over. And I'm not going to go out and buy eccentric nuts, and although I do have some. I was thinking about actually using some. I was thinking, I still might. I mean, I'm going to build it this way initially. This is the bed plate. I was thinking about drilling these out a little bit so I could put an eccentric nut in there. But that means me drilling it precisely. I mean, I am not equipped to drill precisely. You can't just use a hand drill. I mean, you probably can, but if the hole's got to be like the perfect size. The eccentric nut bobbles in there at all, it doesn't really work anymore because it tightens up. It just moves across the hole. Not only that, it allows the wheel, when you tension it, to cock itself, because the bolt will, once you put pressure on it, the bolt can shift. Blah blah blah. Again, this isn't the most perfect idea, but they do work, because that printer uses the same bed system, and the Olmax Micron used the same bed system, and the guy who owns it now is still using it, and it works fine, and it's nice and stiff, and blah blah blah. It will work. So we're going to do it. I've done it before, and I'm going to do it again. I do prefer 2020 over LMUs for the bed. Again, with that printer, they used to have, I think it was this rod. Now they were longer. The problem with these rods is they do have flex, and they bend, and they aren't necessarily straight. And if you try and level a swinging bed, and it's got a bend in the rod, the bed, you'll never be able to level it, because the bed actually rises and lowers as it moves. So you'll set the height with it here, but then you slide it back, and it not only rises and lowers, but if it's arced, it actually rocks the bed. It just becomes a whole nightmare. So I never thought LMUs and rods were good for the bed. I am going to use LMUs and rods for the Z. More because I'm running out of V wheels and V groove. I do have one more piece. I think I still have a carriage, so my X will be wheels on a carriage. Somewhere I have one still, I know I do. But that's later on. The other thing is this thing. I might actually install it today. I only have the one high precision motor for X. So I'm going to do another Hodge Podge thing. And I'm actually going to have it run the X on one side. But I hate the whole saggy BS that you get by having a single lead screw, which people compensate for by just pitching their bed out of level, and it's just a whole other nightmare I'm not going to get into. But I'm going to actually use this bolted to the bottom, put these on it, and drive belts. So it'll have a lead screw and a belt on the primary side, and the secondary side will just have a belt that will keep it level. Now, I don't like the belts across the top because they pull unevenly on the lead screw, and that becomes an issue, and you can get wobbles. If you got a straight lead screw and everything's supported, it's okay. It will work, but it's a roll of the dice how well it's going to work. Where this should be much higher precision. It is kind of foolish to do a lead screw and a belt. It's kind of goofy. And yes, I've built all of my printers. All the printers I have are my own or complete rebuilds of something else. This is a Core XY I built from completely scratch, and that used to be an A-net that there's literally like 4 pieces left on it that are still part of the A-net. The rest of it's all customized. Anyways, getting back to this unit, the Hodge Podge. If you don't know what the Hodge Podge is, these are all parts from building other printers, repairing other people's printers, parts I've had laying around, crap I've collected, stuff donated from a couple companies. By the way, thank you very much, IC3D, for the plastic. They sent me a bunch of rolls. We raffled it off a year ago. This was a year ago I started doing this. And LDO Motors, who have donated motors. They had demo motors he gave me. They had like a bunch of used or storage parts or parts that have a dent and scratch that he donated. He sent me a whole box of stuff. LCD screens, motors, a couple other things. I don't even remember what now. Again, a year ago. This all started a year ago, and then COVID hit, and life changed, and other things changed in my life, and blah, 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 whine, snivel, bitch, moan. So let's get to building this here thing and get some stuff started. And I know it's early, but I usually have a few people here by now. But that's all right. They will show up whenever. And in a bit, I will probably just turn it into a chat session because I'm really not going to get very far. If I get this bed on, I'll be surprised because I don't think I have everything I need to even do that. So the first thing to do is build these here little wheel trucks, which I may not have enough wheels to do, but that actually doesn't matter because they don't need to all have wheels in them. So let's do that first. I'll bring this camera down here and point it at the desk. And I should have brought the wheels out, which are right here somewhere. Actually, I think I moved them. I keep forgetting I reorganized all this stuff. Washers, nuts and bolts, other random crap. Wheels of all kinds of varying sizes. And we're using all mini wheels because... What's up, Sergio? This one has a little red mark on it, which means it's got a bad spot. I can probably change the bearing in it. I have a bunch of these little mini wheels. And I got some that aren't even built yet here somewhere. Those are big ones. Those are big pulleys. Those are just spacers. Those are big ones. Compression washer. Bearing. I got all kinds of crap. I may not have enough wheels though. I built a few of these where I forgot to put the washer in the middle. There's actually 2 bearings in these wheels. And there's a little bearing on the outside and a little bearing on the inside. And then there's a washer in the middle to keep them from actually contacting each other. And I was rushing building a few of them back in the day. And I forgot to put the stupid washer in. So some of them won't work without pulling the whole thing apart and starting from scratch. And I thought I had more unbuilt ones, but I guess I don't. So that might be another issue. So we may not even get to the bed. And I don't think I have enough wheels here that'll actually work. But there's only one way to find out, and that's to build them. So the next thing I need is some nuts and bolts, which are in this box here. And I don't even remember what size they are that I need. But the thing I might do is use all of these that I have a buttload of, which I know are too long, but I can cut them with the Dremel. What I like about them is they have the little shoulder to ride the bearing on, so the wheel has less slop. And the heads are perfect. I don't need a washer because they only hit the inner race. They don't hit the outer race. And these are designed with a little lip. I don't know if you can see it. There's a little donut that also hits the inner race only. And you thread this right in here. And it helps if I grab the right size one. And I might need, well, oh, it's because of the elephant squish, which I should have cleared first. You know, not all that important. So I just got to clear that out a little. Gotta do both holes, you dummy. And again, this is not, I'm not even going to try and say this is the best design in the world, because it's not. But it does work, believe it or not. And I've actually done videos on it. I think I actually have a video on how these, how I build these things and how I designed them and why I designed them and all that good crap. This one should be fine. You basically just, now this truck is threaded right here. And there's a reason for that. It's also going to get a bolt on the other side, but I can use this to tension the bearing wheel, and then another bolt will go on top, and it will mount it to the actual bed. It's still a little tight, but It's okay. Tight is good. That means it'll actually hold. Like I said, I'm going to have to cut these after, but that's all right. Well, again, it's not just if it works. I mean, this is not something I would recommend to the average everyday user to do. But as you can see, it just mounts in there. Now, again, this is threaded. So as I screw it in, I can tension it. But now when I clamp it down and actually bolt it to the plate, goes this away. Come on, hand, start working. I can put a bolt here, and when I tension that, it's tensioning it. They're both working on this plastic printed part for being the tension differentiation between the wheel and the mount. No, it's not an Ivan Miranda printer. This actually makes sense. This probably will not. And you know what I probably will do with this one? I'm probably not going to use both trucks. I originally designed it where it's printed and there's literally no adjustability. I designed it to have two wheels. Because, as we all know, 3D printing isn't perfect. And by having the two, it gives it a little bit of compression play / if one of them isn't perfectly tight, the other one is kind of deal. You know what? Let's put it on there. Why not? Wow, not with that one though. That's funny. This is the bad bearing on the pink side. That is definitely a bad bearing. That one actually feels good. So let's put it in there. So we tighten this up. And again, you can see the threads there's actually threads printed in it, but they're too small deliberately. So it cuts and it holds really tightly and blah, blah, blah. It becomes a good thing. And it actually smooths up as you tighten it. And I should be using my ratcheting unit so I don't have to sit here and do this forever. It's actually running pretty good. I don't feel anything wrong with either one of them. Well, there's one. And I am putting 4 on, not just 3. And there's a reason for that. Because I think it holds better. I think 3 is a terrible, terrible design. No, 3 is not a terrible design. It's just, I prefer the 4. That one's falling good. Now these are all used bearings that I either built wrong or found something wrong with them, or most of them I built wrong because I was in a rush back in, some of these are very old, back in the day. And like I said earlier, I forgot to put the washer in between some of them, between the two bearings. So it doesn't work quite right. Some of them I've actually taken apart and replaced the bearings and or put the washer in there. So some of these may be all right. Even though they're marked. Which is part of the whole let's find out what's going on testing thing. And most of these should work because I actually built this bed already once. If you go back in some of my old videos, I actually did a video on how I build this bed years and years and years ago. That one's smooth. Let's try another one. Some of them had, some of them are cheapos. I only buy open builds now. There is a difference. Some of these are like Amazon crap, no name, cheapo wheels that I was trying. And they literally had like little, like molding little marks from, you know, where they came out of the mold or whatever. And we put them on a drill and sanded it. Filed it. Actually didn't sand it. And got rid of the little mark. Okay, now. Somewhere around here, this here puppy. I'm going to do this right because I'm tired of fighting that. And I have this nice ratcheting unit right here. And I have some Allen keys for it. I think I just grabbed one that's way too big. You did. I believe it's this one. That fits it. Nope, that's still too big too. One more down. That's the one. And it just pops in there. And it ratchets. And a lot less damaging on your hand than a regular screwdriver when you're doing this long of a thing. Now I could use a impact wrench, which I have around here, but I really don't like to because then you end up over tightening it. But I'm actually thinking about grabbing it and using it to prime them basically. And then do the final tension by hand. It works. I would not say that's the smoothest. It's not rough. It's a little stiff, but I can back it off a little. And give it a little bit of play. And that will be just fine. And it is. 2 of 4 down. And I may end up replacing 1 or 2 of these wheels. I have a feeling, if not more. This one doesn't have a mark on it, so it should be good. I need to get better quality of these. I got boned on these. These are supposed to be Bond Haas or whatever this brand is. And it is certainly not. It's like some knockoff. I don't know if you can see that, but it's some knockoff brand. They still work, but they have a issue with not really fitting properly. But they're fine for doing this. So anyways, the plan is when this is all said and done, as long as I know it's actually working, I'm going to raffle this printer off. Though I have a feeling it's probably going to be one of my better printers in the long run, just because it is all hodgepodgey. So this is the problem with these cheapos. They don't come out after. It just does not want to come out of there. I don't know why they do that. I think it's partially these screws too. These are cheapo screws. Those are working. Like I said, a lot of these I rebuilt already, even though they're marked. Because when I was having problems with them, I marked them with a little red marker. But I have rebuilt a lot of them since. So they may be fine, even though they're marked. Oh, this thing is like awesome. This ratchet, because it's got the regular 1/4-inch socket set on one side, plus the drive on the other side, and it just is so nice. It's small and compact. I've had this thing for years. I used to use this for like small engine repair before 3D printing. I've literally had this thing for like 20 years. I've got some non-ratcheting ones too that I use that are actually Sears used to carry them as that one right here somewhere. Right here. They're actually designed to go in between like your drill. So you put it on and then you mount your drill here, and when you're prepping something, instead of having a drill and it won't, sometimes the drill won't line up and start to screw, you can hand start it, pop your drill on there, and then screw it in without ever taking this thing off. These things are pretty nice too, and they're like, you get like 3 or 4 of them for $10, and they work well. All right, we have 3 of the 4. Let's do 2 more little wheels. If you don't know what I'm doing here, I'm actually putting tension on the bearing up against the head and giving it a twist to see if I feel any like little pebbles in the bearing or anything. Just to make sure, because I had a couple of those too with the cheapos. And that's hurting my hand a little bit because this is kind of tiny. Wait till you see how I mount this freaking bed on the frame. You guys are going to get a kick out of this. It works. I mean, it actually works really, really well. That's sweet. That works. And tightening, ratcheting, tightening. This is still better than spinning that thing. Or using a regular frickin' angled Allen key. I don't know why it likes to like stay in there. It's almost like there's a lip, and it only does it with these bolts. So I have a feeling it's as much these bolts as, I mean, this thing is cheap. Don't get me wrong. It's not a very well made Allen key, but there's like a lip on the inside of this. So when it goes in there, it like sticks a little too well, but those all work. So the next thing to do is mount them on the bed. And that's all you do is stick them in there. Now I did have to, these holes are drilled out. It won't even go in these inner ones. I don't think I drilled those out, did I? Nope. So it's got to go in the outer ones. And the wheel points in. And then we tension the rod down to it, the 2020. And we use a lock nut here. And should I use a washer? Yeah. Nah. The lock nut should be enough. And I need the socket, which I don't think I have in here anymore. Which could be a major bummer. I think I took that outside. This is not the right size, is it? Nope. Nope, and nope. Hey, you know what? That fits, but this will work. I should go find the socket because this is going to be too much of a pain in the butt because it's going to keep hitting. I think I need to find a socket, and I had it here. Now I think about it, I think it is still here. One of these, I hope. That one's too big. That one's definitely too big. That's the right size. And there we go. Once again, you use the little ratchety tool, and we're all hooked up. And I am using lock nuts because, you know, they're better. And those are on, and that's your truck basically. It just bolts on there, puts the two wheels in place. And that is that, baby. Next, you just have to make sure they're pointing in or out. You can actually, this is basically done on the same principle as this printer is, where these wheels are under compression. There's no eccentric nut. There's no wheel on the other side. It's just pushing against the 2020 at a certain tension that I apply to it. Okay, more lock nuts. These are the wrong, those are the right size. I thought they were the wrong size. Oh, and the threading on the truck broke. But that's okay. I should have remembered that from before, because I've had that happen before. Basically, I put too much tension in the threads on the truck. Trying to keep the tension between the cap and the truck and the frame at different tensions. Because you actually want the squeeze on the plate tighter than the squeeze on the wheel, if that makes sense. But you really don't need to. That's just like this mythology thing. For now, it's going to be 200 because that's what I have for a bed. The frame will actually do closer to 300, if not more. Again, I didn't cut any of these. These are just pieces I had, whatever I had laying around. So in reality, that's more than 300. So if I had a 300 bed, I could easily do more than 300. But I don't have a 300 bed. I have a 200 bed. And I have a 200 bed heater. And I have the 200mm bed. So that's what it's getting. It's that simple. It's getting what I have in stock. That's why it's a Hodge Podge printer, because it's a hodgepodge of all the parts I have laying around. Now, I'm going to raffle this thing off in the end, if anybody actually wants it. That's too small. And whoever gets it can do whatever they want with it. If they have a 300 bed laying around and they want to go out and buy a 300 bed, good for them. Go for it. I know the lead screw is, I think it's just 300, but by the time you add the nuts and the motion and all that, it comes out, the height is about 250. Now, again, the frame height is closer to 400. Now it's about 300. Again, if you want to switch out the motor and the lead screw and all that crap and put a longer one on it, be my guest. Right now, I'm just taking the parts I got and making a printer out of them, instead of just having them laying around. What's up, Shane? It's too tight. That's about perfect. And I'm definitely going to cut those bolts down when it's all said and done. I have been installing these all correctly. As you can see, there's 4 trucks with 8 wheels. So hopefully it sits proper, which, again, this is nothing new. Every bed slinger I have built has had basically this truck system installed on it at some point. Is it the best in the world? Absolutely not. Is it one of the easiest to build? Absolutely not. Can anybody build it? Absolutely. So that's the advantage of it is, I need to crank that down a little, collapse that bed. Back this off, I need to return. And one more nut. I did this bed style method originally years ago, before like the Ender 3s and all of those even came out. Everyone was doing eccentric nut. The mini wheels were just starting to like become a thing for the inexpensive printers. And I got tired of LMUs, which I still say these wheels are better than LMUs. I don't care. I know there's people that say, oh, they're more accurate, but in reality, they're just not. I will take a wheel over an LMU any day of the week. Not because it's better in the sense of stiffness. They're no more or less stiff, especially if you use the mini wheels. There's less play in the bearing, even though the bearings will wear out faster. The bearings on the mini wheels over the full-size wheels, these are mini wheels, are going to wear out faster. They're smaller bearings or smaller wheels. Everything's smaller, so they're more prone to have issues with the slight manufacturing problems, and everything's smaller, so it's more sensitive to issues. The thing is they're much easier to replace. You don't have to grease them. There's no maintenance other than when it finally dies, you throw it away, and there's no grease, there's no must, there's no fuss, there's no dirt. You just take the wheel off and put a new one on. So now, we have that part done. The wheels are mounted. The next part, we will bring the camera over. I'm going to have some coffee. Coffee break. You're getting ready to do some work, or are you saying I'm doing some work? I'm always doing work, Shane. Just don't see it. This thing sits on there. Yeah, get it kind of level. Okay. Then you take these here things, which are 3D printed, but one of them turns one way and the other turns the other way, and it's called a turnbuckle. Hopefully I made these the right length and not too long or not too short, which I think I did. I think I'm good enough. And you place them in here. They got there's a little lip in it. I don't know if you can see it. That locks it into the channel. I hope I didn't make them too short. I might have made them too short. Hey now. And you gotta get them close to about the same exposure. I have a feeling I made them too short. So this might be a very short build. And that might be done until I reprint new ones. Because I think they're just a hair too short. Maybe not. This whole one turning one way and the other turning the other way thing confuses the crap out of me sometimes. All right. But in reality, there we go. I guess they're not too short. This one is. And that one's already out. Too far. Come on, see in there. Why is that locking up? Never had that problem. It goes smoothly. I changed the design of this turnbuckle, and I probably shouldn't have. Because the old one actually worked pretty well. Get in the channel. Stay in the channel. It's supposed to just turn, but it's not staying in the channel. To allow it to turn. Believe it or not, I've done this before, and it works quite well. Believe it or not, I know it's hard to believe. I wouldn't blame you for not believing it. Especially looking at the way it's going now. But I think we're close. Stay in there. Why are you popping out of the channel? There we go. And I just broke it. Because I didn't have it on the wheels, did I? No, I did not. Aha! Well, that puts a kibosh on the whole thing. I forgot about that. Gosh darn it. I used the old model of these. These trucks aren't thick enough. Damn it, I forgot I did that. Gosh darn it. The trucks aren't high enough off the plate. So the 2020's rubbing. I literally need to raise it like a half a millimeter to get the trucks to line up with the 2020 extrusion. Boy, I can literally just put a washer under there, but I hate doing that, and that means taking it all apart again. I forgot all about that. I knew that too. What if I built other trucks that work? I just reprinted them and I forgot I screwed it up. I was remodeling them. But I had the originals here somewhere. But I think I might have thrown them out. Which I think I did, because they're not in here. I emptied, I had like 4 of these coffee cans full of parts. And I'm down to 1. I went through them like a month ago and just started throwing crap out. Well, that put the kibosh on the whole thing because I screwed that up. And I knew I screwed it up. And I said, oh, I got to remodel those before I print them. And I didn't. You dummy. So now all that work was pointless. It's basically, there's not enough distance right here between the wheel and the plate. So the 2020 is rubbing on the bed as it goes back and forth. And I've got it. It was originally designed to literally be like a half a millimeter. And then I was going to make it a millimeter. So like if the plastic started compressing or giving you problems, you had a little more clearance. And I went the wrong way when I remodeled it. I said, oh, I'll fix that some other time. And then I forgot to fix it. And I went ahead and printed them. Oh, well. That is life. So, that's fun. The other thing I can do is put this on. Well, that might be in the way when I'm going to do the bed. This is actually going to go underneath here. Right around here somewhere. And run a belt. To the carriages from underneath. Let me just put washers under there. If I put 2 washers under each one of these, that'll more than clear it. 1 will probably clear it because it is right there. I mean, it's actually literally just touching is perfect. But I need it to raise up. Just in here. Now. That was dumb. Forgot all about that. Well, what we can do, put all this crap away. Maybe. Fix them. them and then print new ones. They really don't take that long to print. It's going to take me longer to disassemble the unit and redo all those wheels than it is probably to actually print them. We have a box here. You know what? I can put it, all this stuff just in the top. Yep. There we go. Now it's all nicely concealed. Not organized, just concealed. This is a nice thing too. This is actually TPU. You can go on Thingiverse and find it if you have these kinds of bits. What is up, Ryan? Mr. Water Sheep? Who's a water sheep? I don't get it. Anyway. Boiler ram. Yeah, but this thing actually works really well. And I got a little one, and you can go on Thingiverse. Just about every file sharing thing I think I have it on. And it holds your bits very nicely. So anyway, let's put the camera back there where it belongs. We can shut this camera right off because we don't need the iPad anymore. And I'm actually going to shut it off to save power. Because why waste power? And then get this thing out of the way. Now we don't need that. I got a motor mount block that I might use. This is an old one. As you can see, it's all used. There's all kinds of crap all over it. Oh well. What is up, Mr. Petzel? I was actually thinking about you this morning because I was having conversations with people about the in Viking. I was having conversations with people about the Omnia drop. And there's morons that don't understand how it works. But anyway, that's a different story. But I want to do that air duct with you somehow or another because I just can't. I don't know why. I normally have no problems, but I think it's just one of those I need somebody else to look at and go, dumbass, just do this. You know what I mean? Every once in a while you get stuck on something and you get something in your head and you can't get past the thought process. Anyways, I need to do the air ducts for that thing, which I got 90% done, but it just doesn't work right. Yeah, there's no rush. I mean, it works fine now. Just, I want to change it. For one, I want to make it a little prettier. Two, I want to get rid of them stupid little loud ass. Yeah, they're high volume. He uses really good. Yeah, I got to talk to him first because when he sent me I have all of his original CAD files and everything. But he made it very clear not to share them because, you know, he doesn't want people like making their own. Now he does like share them, like Dave Wilson has them. He prints his own bodies and then just buys the gears and some of the parts. Yeah. But I got to check with Max before I send them to you just because that's the right thing to do. I know you're not going to go around stealing anything from him, but not, you know, I don't own it. So I'm not going to go sending stuff out that he doesn't want me to. Know what I mean? Not my product. Yeah, he does not. That's the one thing cool about Max. He doesn't need like signed anything. He's like, dude, be a nice guy and not, you know, not do this, this, and this. Here's the files. I know he won't have a problem with it, but I'm going to tell him first. It's just the right thing to do. It's just the right thing to do. Anybody want to come in and hang out since I'm kind of in a standstill because I screwed up like I always do? You want to come hang out for a half an hour? That probably won't stay on very long. It's already almost 11. And lunch will be coming up Got to feed mom her lunch. We try to do everything a little early too, because the clocks change tomorrow. So it will be noon in 10 minutes tomorrow. 24 hours from now, it'll be 25 hours from now. Get it? Get it? Got it? Good. So anyway, I'm going to redo those trucks, which I might as well just go into my little fusion-y thing here right now and add a millimeter to the thickness, which is all it needs, and reprint the trucks. What? Just make eggs and ham for my son. Oh, yeah. What do I have in there? I have TPU in there. That's not going to work as the trucks. I should put the 4mm nozzle back in too, because it's what it's actually designed to make by, which makes the threads better and all that. Read only. My editable documents. I can make this read only. I wish it wouldn't ask me for every stupid one. When I do it, there needs to be a yes. They don't ever ask me again. If I click read only, it's read only. It's not that big of a deal to make it editable again. Now I gotta remember what the hell the name of it is. Somebody just popped in. We have a pretzel. A pretzel petzl. What's up, dude?
My kids from Omaha are in town, so yeah. we're doing our Christmas. So my daughter and my wife spent the night at the casino, and my son and I watched the Iowa basketball game last night.
How very nice for you.
And then I made green eggs and ham this morning. So
roller V slot. That's what I named it. I don't know why I named it that. Modded roller. Yeah, you modded it the wrong way, you freaking dumbass. Oh, crap. Right here, go back 2 steps. I could probably share my screen so people can see what the hell I'm doing, but it's really not that important.
Look at Jerry's up early.
Busy. Oh, I was going to say, yeah, it's still early for you guys, huh?
No, not really. 10. But I think it's probably 8 at Jerry's.
And now I think I have to fix the threading. Nope, thread went all the way.
Oh, Jerry's a Cornhusker. Didn't know that. Sweet.
What?
Jerry's a Cornhusker.
What the fuck's a Cornhusker? What's a Cornhusker? Try not to swear.
Nebraska.
Huh?
Nebraska.
Yeah. So? Oh, just hour. Yeah, I get it. He's used to getting up early. Anyway, whatever.
What are you making, Llama?
Huh?
That's the A net that is only 3 parts. A net.
What? What are you talking about?
The printer that you're putting together. That's the A net.
No, that's Hodge Podge. It's literally nothing. It's scrap parts I have laying around.
Oh, sweet.
It's just literally a hodgepodge of parts. LDO sent me a bunch of like used and demo units for motors. They sent me a screen, which I actually put on here because I want that screen. So I took the screen off of here, and I'm going to use the crappy screen I had on there. And I took the nice screen he sent me, even though it's got a scratch on it. I don't care. It's one of those nice black screens, that LDO makes now.
Oh, yeah.
And I like that. So I took the cheapo blue, one. I'm going to put that on the Hodge Podge, and I kept the black screen because, I'm greedy that way. And he sent me all these motors that, they're used. They're all like demo units or stuff he can't sell, And he just sent me a whole box of junk. I was like, dude, I need a motor or two. You got one or two? And it freaking sent me this huge box of just, some of it I already threw out. It was just, he's like, he even said some of it you might want to just throw out, but wires and connectors and all kinds of crap. He just had Basically, he wanted to unload his freaking basement, I think.
Are you using the NEMA 17s on them?
Yeah. But he sent me one. That's what I'm going to use. I think I've explained this before, but I'll go over it again. He sent me a bunch. But this one particular one is the one I want to use. The problem is I wanted to do 2 lead screws. You can't get another lead screw like this. This was a custom-made lead screw he made for some dude that wanted to try some weird mathematical thing. So it's like it's a single start, like 0.1 rise lead screw. Like you turn it 100 times and it only goes up a 0.5 millimeter. It's like super duper duper fine, and it's got its own proprietary nut on it, and so you can't get another one. But it's super duper duper like fine resolution. I think it was supposed to be for like a CNC or a laser or something. Somebody wanted to try and they didn't like it or whatever, so they sent it back to him. It was a demo unit, and he sent it to me along with some others. But I want to use it because it is really fine resolution. In theory, with this, I should be able to do like 0.01 layer heights. Not the extruders and all of that will be able to actually do that. But the layer height, the actual mechanical movement, I should be able to do it with this because it's super, like, it doesn't rise. You spin it forever and it never moves. It's really, really, really tight threading. So I'm going to use this for the Z height, but I only got one. And I don't want to do the whole cantilever-y thing like the Ender 3s. For one, I'm building this whole thing for myself, and I don't have, a carriage for the far side. So I'm going to belt it. I'm going to have this actually do the mechanics, but I'm going to have a belt coming off of this that goes underneath the printer on a rod and a belt on the other side to do the other side to match. So it'll be both lead screw and belt rise printer. Yep, stupid, but it'll be fun to build. And it'll probably work really, really well. Okay. This is not a normal lead screw. That's my point, Ryan. This is not he's like, oh, you can buy another lead screw. This is not your standard 4-start, 2 millimeter rise, whatever they are, lead screw. It's like a weird, because I asked Jason, I was like, can you get me another lead screw? And I'll just, I wasn't going to put a motor on it. I was just going to, belt it to just a plain lead screw and, have him drive. He's like, no, that was a custom made lead screw. It's like a weird, he's like, you're going to have to figure out what, calculations you need to do with the motor to make it work. You're going to have to actually like move it, measure it, and set your firmware. Because he's like, it's not even a normal, steps per rise lead screw. It's something bizarre.
Okay, well, I stopped in to say hi, and I got to pop back out. So, hi, Llama. Bye.
Hi, bye.
See you, man.
It's like, I don't know. It's really weird. It's not your normal standard lead screw. It's a different thread count. In theory, if I remember correctly, he said that he had an estimate. It was like just short of, or just double. I think he said it was 800 steps per millimeter on the motor to get a millimeter of rise, something like that. It's almost double a normal lead screw rise. And I'm not buying anything. It's the whole point of the Hodge Podge is to use scrap, not to buy another lead screw or bearings or anything I got is what's going in it. So that's what I got. And that's what's going in it. And that's what I'm going to do because that's the whole point. It's not to be a smart printer. It's to be a Hodge Podge printer. A hodgepodge of parts bearing block. I need to print 4 of these now that I made it fatter and better and smarter and taller. Anyway, well, since I really can't go any farther because I have to print those bearing blocks, it looks like it's going to have to wait a week because I will print them sometime during the week and do it again next Saturday. So I think I'm going to kill it unless somebody else wants to come and hang out, which I don't think. Not in the mood. And I got to go make lunch soon anyways. So I'm going to kill it. See ya. Bye. Bye, everybody.